guys. Happy Monday. Hopefully we all had a great start to the week. I know that the weekends bring a lot of activity, and some of you got some great deals done over the weekend, and some of you, may have lost a few deals. And that's why today, what we really want to talk about is how to win in a competitive market. So today's topic is essentially, how do you win over other offers? Pretty much every part of the country is experiencing a real estate boom right now. It's tough to get buyers into properties. And so when it's tough to get buyers into properties, we have to make sure that we're doing our part in order to put the best foot forward for our clients. And, I hear all the time from my agents too, man, I got so many offers out there, I just can't get them accepted. And we actually did a coaching video a couple weeks ago about different ways to be competitive to ensure that you're giving your client the best opportunity to put a deal in escrow, to put a deal in contract. And there's two sides to it, really. There's a side that you want to make sure that when you submit your offer, that you are not only putting your best foot forward, but that you have a great lender that is backing you within your submission. So that's the first step, and that's the first part of it. Because the seller is going to want a commitment to close. They're going to want to hear from somebody that says, other than a piece of paper, that says your client is as good as gold. And so I would encourage you in a competitive market like we have right now, when you're representing buyers, to make sure that the lender that you're working with will go out of their way to call the listing agent and explain to them that your client is going to be able to purchase this home and there will not be any issues. I would also encourage that lender write a letter, that it's not only your letter from your client explaining how much they want the property, but also the lender letter. So they have a call and a letter of commitment. So it's not just a pre-qual and it's not just a pre-approval. It's truly the lender that's out there saying, hey, look, I know this client, I have their docs, we're good to go. And if you do that, 80% of agents won't do that. So it goes a long way in terms of having somebody reach out to the seller's agent and say, hey, look, don't even stress about these guys. A, they love the house, and B, I can tell you that they are going to close on the property. And if you do that, all of a sudden that the seller's agent now goes to the seller and says, hey, look, I got 5 offers here, but the only person that called me from the lender side was your offer, and they told me they were as good as gold. That goes a long way to the seller, so that the listing agent can say, I actually spoke to their lender. They said we're not going to have any issues whatsoever. So that's one thing. The other side, and what we talked about a lot with my team a couple weeks ago, was being creative within your contract. And what I mean about being creative within your contract are things such as higher earnest deposits, shorter inspection periods, closing date, making your contingencies expire at a certain time frame, right? If your contingencies expire at a certain time frame instead of close of escrow, such as financing, if that expires within 21 days, 14 days, well, guess what? Now I have a peace of mind as a seller knowing that the earnest monies will go hard at that period of time. So it's being creative within your contract. Waiving appraisals, right? That's being creative within the contract. And always the rebuttal I get when I say waiving appraisals or financing contingency, right? I always get, well, my client is not in a position to do that. They can't waive the appraisal. Well, they can. And this is about being an expert, and it's about being a pro. Because your client, as long as they don't waive financing contingency, can waive the appraisal contingency because they still have their financing contingency. And so it's about being an expert, and it's about being a pro to explain to your clients, look, I want to get this house for you. We're going to go in and waive the appraisal contingency. And your client's going to say, well, wait a minute, what if it doesn't appraise? And your rebuttal is going to be, don't worry about that, because that'll fall under financing contingency, and we still have an out here because of financing contingency. And they say, oh, I didn't know that. Well, guess who else doesn't know that? 90% of the time, the agent on the other end doesn't know that either. So when they present your offer to the seller and they say, hey, look, this person was willing to waive appraisal contingency, especially when we're in a competitive market where homes are going for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand over list price, all of a sudden the seller says, Well, great. If they're the only ones that was willing to waive appraisal, I'll take them. But what you've done is waive the appraisal and not put your client at any risk whatsoever because they still have their financing contingency, right? So it's about being smart. It's about structuring your contract in a way to where you're not putting your client at risk, but you're using loopholes within the contract to still make sure that if the appraisal does come in light and they can't make up the difference, that your financing contingency will still apply. So you got to think about these things when you're submitting offers in a competitive marketplace, because you got to win the deal. And by the way, so what? Like lowering your inspection period and your due diligence process from 10 days to 7 or 5, who cares? It looks better to the seller. But all that means is you got to get your inspector out there tomorrow or the next day. So what? Who cares? There's no effect there. Waiving appraisal contingencies, so what? Claiming that you take the property as is, a seller or seller's agent is going to say, look, they'll take the house as it is. That doesn't mean you can't have your inspections. You can still do your inspections. And if it's important enough, you can still request it. Now, they may come back and say, but wait a minute, you said to take this as is, but that has nothing to do with me still making requests. We just simply cross that bridge when it comes to it. And then we say, well, that's true, but we didn't realize it was going to have this many problems. We renegotiate it. But the key is you're in the driver's seat now. You didn't lose out on that deal. Your buyer now still has the ability to buy the house, which before, if you lost out from the upfront opportunity because you're in a bidding war and you lost it because you just submitted a standard offer instead of thinking about the process and being creative, well, now you've already lost from the very beginning. At least now you're in the driver's seat and you control the transaction. That's the key with all of this, is controlling the transaction. That's why, to me, I would always, in a competitive market, I would never wait till somebody says, hey, this house just hit the market. Can we go see this home on Saturday? No, we cannot go see the home on Saturday. Let's just offer. And if it's not what you expect, at least we're in the driver's seat now. And we can, if you don't like the property, once you actually go see it in person, we can cancel with no ramification. But I don't want to wait till Saturday because it's going to be under contract by Saturday. And then you third party that. That's the critical piece, is third partying everything. When you find yourself in a position to where you're laying it on thick and you're being salesy and you're trying to do something that's out of someone's comfort zone, you must make sure that they understand that many of your clients do the same thing, and it's okay. In fact, this is what I've instructed my clients to do because of the competitive nature of the environment right now. We want to submit sight unseen because we can at least control the contract. When you control the contract, you at least now control the ability and opportunity to get to the closing table. And that's all you can hope for. The rest of it is up to your buyer. But once they're in contract and they're excited about it, that's up to you as an agent to continue that momentum and that good feeling that this is the home that they want. This is the home that I got for you. This is why you work with me, right? So not only having a great lender that's willing to go out of their way to help you get offers accepted, but being strategic about the contract and also setting expectations and third partying why we are doing what we're doing and that it is okay. We have to make sure that we're thinking out of the box in a competitive market, guys. It's so important. And if you use some of these tricks and these tactics along the way, not only, think about it, not only are you going to close more deals, but now all of a sudden you stop being a tour guide. You got the home for your client. Now they're going to close. Now they're going to refer you people. Do you know how hard it is on the other aspect? Do you know how many people that lose out 2 and 3 times that get buyer exhaustion and now all of a sudden they're not going to buy at all? They're going to continue to rent or they're going to stay put because they don't feel like the market is there for them right now? They get exhausted. They say, we're good for right now. We're going to take a break for a little bit because they get their hopes up. And when they get their hopes up and they don't get something 2 or 3 times, that's deflating. So we have to be pros. We have to be the ones that understand these tips and tricks and what we can do in order to secure the property that they really want. So we don't have to go through this time and time and time again. So all in all, I encourage you, be strategic, be smart, and think of the ways that you can get your client into a contract without putting them in a bad spot, because you have the ability to get them out of the contract should that be the case. But the key is, more than anything, to lock up the deal up front, because at least you control the contract. And remember that. control the contract. When you control the contract and you control your buyers, you're going to close more deals. If there's any questions, let me know, shoot them in there. And then I appreciate everybody watching and listening. I really do. We're really excited. We have our course coming out here in like 2.5 weeks for macro listings. And I've been putting so much time into it. I mean, literally working like a dog lately, not only from JMG's perspective, but also from this course perspective. But it's so fun. It's so fulfilling to be able to bring this out there to agents across the country and help them grow their business and their career. So please make sure you look for that when it comes out. And also, if you haven't joined the Build Your Careers page, please make sure you do so. So guys, thank you so much. I see a lot of my teams on this. Guys, I love you. Thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate you guys so much. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.